Alien warriors from another world locked in a war across the stars that finds its way here to Earth. Heroes with secret powers revealed through their ability to change shape. They are Transformers, yes, but simpler, less spectacular. More like rearrangers, who are mighty but not quite masters of the universe. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Revell's Power Lords. Power Lords, the Extra-Terrestrial Warriors was a line of roughly 5 to 6 inch action figures released by Revell in 1983. It was supported by vehicles, a playset, comic books, and a variety of licensed merchandise, all poised to take advantage of the continuing popularity for all things fantasy and science fiction created by brands like Star Wars and Masters of the Universe, and of course the blockbuster hit movie, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial. Adam Power, a regular Earthling, wields the cosmic power jewel, which allows him to transform into Power Lord, a being of incredible strength and power. The cosmic power jewel grants him powers enabled by it, which are cosmic and incredible. He can do things that it's pretty cool. He's strong and, look out. Good thing too, because Earth and everything, the whole universe, is threatened by Arcus the Evil Dictator, a winged insectoid creature who is nigh invulnerable due to the fact that he sustains his essence with the anguish he causes his victims. Arcus is assisted in his evil doings by the previous most powerful and fearful creature in the universe, Griptog. Am I saying that right? Griptog? Griptog, the four-fisted brute, bent the knee to Arcus, along with Rhagoth, the Goon of Doom, Torque, the Turning Terror, and Disguisor, the Deadly Deceiver. Of course, Arcus, like all of us, knows the power of the cosmic power jewel. Not only does he want to possess the jewel, but he also wants to take over Vulcan Rock, the secret fortress of Adam Power and his friends, the mighty warrior Shea, the Queen of Power, and the scientific genius Psydot the Supreme. That's the way to truly defeat goodness. Take all its cool stuff and the place where they keep it. Power Lords were produced by Revell, a company previously known for model kits, not action figures. In 1943, Louis H. Glazer founded a company called Precision Specialties as a plastics molding facility. They found themselves making trains and train set accessories for other companies and decided to get into that business for themselves. They rebranded as Revell, a shortened proprietary version of Reveille, which comes from the French réveiller, meaning to awaken or wake up. This was a new beginning for Precision Specialties as Revell, and they would soon become the model kit industry leader in innovation, design, and sales. Over the years, Revell produced thousands of model kits, trains, cars, battleships, planes, tanks, everything a kid or hobbyist could want until they didn't want them anymore. In the late 70s, with the explosion of Star Wars and the new dominance of the toy market by Kenner, Revell found themselves once again switching gears. Revell was purchased by a French toy company called Général du Jouet, or General Toy Company. They had success with the French version of G.I. Joe, Action Joe. And in Revell, they saw an opportunity to move further into a world of action figures with Kenner, Mattel, Hasbro, and all of the other companies that were raking in the cash in the early 80s. As Star Wars, Masters of the Universe, and G.I. Joe continued to drive the toy industry into new territory with multimedia tie-in marketing, licensed products, vehicles, and playsets, Revell sought to market to that same audience by betting on a subject that was already proven, space aliens, and they would attempt to use characters from a book that was already successful. In 1979, Wayne Barlow, with the help of Workman Publishing, released a book called Barlow's Guide to Extra-Terrestrials. It was an illustrated guide to many of the various forms of life that Barlow imagined populated the galaxies beyond our own. It was a drastic conceptual break from the traditional popular mainstream representations of aliens as human-sized creatures in spacesuits. Revell hired two toy industry giants Ned Strongen and Len Mayhem, both with years of experience and the portfolios to bring a new action figure line to market. They reached out to Barlow hoping to license his guide to extraterrestrial designs and... Step 3, profit? Unfortunately, Barlow didn't own the designs featured in the book, but there was a very simple solution to that problem. Draw more aliens. Revell wouldn't be able to build off the popularity of the book's name, but they could still capture the same aesthetic with the same guy designing all their toys, and that's what he did. Barlow was given the freedom to go where he wanted with the designs. There were some engineering aspects that needed to be addressed as the design process went along, but all of the aliens are his unique, strange, unusual creature designs that don't exist anywhere else in any other line of toys. While other lines depended on heavy reuse of parts to make their bottom line, Power Lords have no reused parts, and in the case of Arcus, 19 points of articulation, unheard of in an action figure line in 1983, and also maybe that wasn't the best idea.
Power Lords, Extra-Terrestrial Warriors.
This is Vulcan Rock. You can imagine Arcus, the evil dictator, fights Atom Power to control the galaxy.
Blast array ready.
You have to put Vulcan Rock together. Vulcan Rock, Atom Power, and Arcus, each sold separately.
I'll change Atom Power to Lord Power, leader of the Lords.
I'll take the Jewel of Power.
Take a trip, Arcus.
Vulcan Rock, Atom Power, and Arcus from the Power Lords collection, each sold separately. New from Revell.
Atom Power's gimmick was the ability to transform into Lord Power. This was achieved by pressing a button on his back that spun his torso 180 degrees, so his top back was now his top front, his bottom half still forward oriented, his posterior still in the rear. A compelling action gimmick in commercials and when properly positioned for camera performance. However, the reality of the physical object was less elegant. It literally meant sculpting Atom Power's features on the front of the head, torso, and arms, and Lord Power on the back of the head, torso, and arms. No hat to cover up the back face, no coat to cover up the back, no gloves to hide the extra set of thumbs on his hands, just one dude's entire upper body Frankensteined onto the back of the main protagonist, the hero of the line. Shea, the Queen of Power, had a similar transformation feature, except that there was no button pushing. You literally just turn her around, rotate or remove her hat, and hang her cape on what used to be her back. Like Atom Power, two different characters just stuck together at their backs. Psydot the Supreme is a giant lizard creature with an amazing set of teeth. And that's it. Those are your heroes. 3 characters whose appearances are unlike any other toy line on the market, questionable gimmicks, and completely out of scale with most of the other popular toy lines on the shelves at the time. They fought against Arcus, a menacing winged bug man with wrist-mounted laser guns. Rhaegoth is from an ice planet and has crystals in his torso that he not only feeds off of, but uses to reflect laser beams back at his foes. Griptog, am I saying that right? Griptog? Griptog is a big multi-appendaged brute with a head that can rotate for 2 different looks, and that works okay because he is, after all, an alien. Wave 2 rolled out a few more characters. Bad Guys Disguisor, the Deadly Deceiver with 4 different faces. That's many faces more than the average figure. And Torque the Turning Terror, kind of a rotating banana man. And then 2 free agents whose allegiance was up to you. Drench the Savage Soaker, who sprays icy water out of his chest, and Burt Backattack, the brutal backstabber from Militron, the war planet who shoots quills out of his back. Power Lords were licensed out for puzzles, stickers, Halloween costumes, coloring books with covers by Joe Kubert, wind-up toys. There was even a Power Lords board game. Revell was fully committed to the Power Lords up to, but not including an animated series. They planned a multimedia rollout including heavy advertising on television, initially in the big markets, and then, closer to the holidays, all the markets. Revell sent out marketing materials to retail buyers assuring them that the Power Lords invasion had arrived, and Power Lords, quote, won't just be on everyone's lips, they'll be on everyone's t-shirts and on lunchboxes, on fan club literature, on free stickers in every package, DC Comics, bright graphics and bold colors. You and the rest of America are going to get blitzed. In December of 1983, as the marketing campaign was at its blitzing point, DC Comics began a 3-issue limited series of Power Lords comics written by Michael Fleischer, illustrated by Mark Teixeira, Jeff Dee, and Adrian Roy, with letters by Ben Oda. The short run of comics expanded on the mythology of the characters that had been limited to file cards on the back of the action figures and some dramatic narration in the TV commercials couched with "you can imagine" language. These comics set the mythology, which also created some controversy within the Power Lords fan base. Until the comics, Atom Power was literally from Earth, plagued by amnesia and nightmarish visions of an intergalactic war, sure, but from Earth. The comics, however, reveal that he is actually from the planet Toran. He is the son of the Power Lord Iza and Queen Moira, leaders of the great race of philosopher rulers, keepers of peace and the law, protectors of all the peace-loving worlds throughout the galaxies. And then, in 1984, Things got weird. Wayne Barlow was no longer designing toys for the Power Lords. Instead, that task fell to Pasquale Gabriel. The new additions to the Power Lords would take things in a decidedly different direction with half-man, half-tank abominations called Beast Machines. Nordic and Savor fought for the good side while Warbot and Evol pledged their treads to Arcus. To say that it was like a completely different line of figures being shoehorned into a line that was underperforming at every level in an attempt to change course and save it from cancellation would be actually exactly correct. A power transporter ship/carrying case and 3 mini playsets, Boulder Blaster, Trap Rock, and the Exploder were all shown in a Revell catalog but would never see production. The line was already clogging shelves and eyeing clearance bins. Before Power Lords ended its blitz, a Power Lords video game would find its way to the Odyssey 2 and almost to the Atari VCS. The same kind of game that G.I. Joe and Masters of the Universe would see during this primitive era. It is just barely a Power Lords game, owing most of its association with the characters from Revell to the box art that the cartridge came in. Revell's Power Lords blitz was thwarted by several factors. 1, the figures weren't up to the quality standards that other toy lines were made with. Joints broke easily, action features frequently did not work properly. 2, lack of animated support during a time when every successful kids brand had a show on Saturday morning or after school to keep those brands front of mind 24 hours a day. And some parents weren't crazy about the design aesthetic of Power Lords to begin with. A Filmation animated series that softened up some of the horrible demonic appearances, even on the heroes, would have gone a long way. 3, they were absolutely buried in the tidal wave of more successful, more interesting, more visible, more profitable product like Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and even Transformers. Historic brands that changed the course of pop culture for the next 40 years and more. 3 issues of a DC comic book weren't going to cut it. In 2012, nearly 30 years after Power Lords blitzed the industry, Four Horsemen Studios announced that they acquired the Power Lords license and were going to be bringing the brand back to life as a new line of action figures. After considerable detective work to determine who actually owned the license, the path was cleared, Wayne Barlow was brought back in as a creative consultant, and by 2013, actual 4-inch scale figures were being shown to collectors. Built on the Glio system of interchangeable joints, Power Lords were back with Atom Power and Lord Power split into 2 distinct figures, abandoning the spinning transformation gimmick. Atom Power's body was repurposed in several colorways as Power Soldiers. Lord Power was released in variant versions, every figure with more articulation and customization options than Power Lords fans could have dreamed of. Griptog was back as well, repurposed as Graptic and Grabtarg. Am I saying that right? Grabtarg? Four Horsemen were doing what Revell never did, making the line more financially viable by both expanding the character assortment and the reusability of parts, and celebrating with a big reveal including a giant smoking Vulcan rock cake on the cable television show Cake Boss.
We thought it was going to be good. It's even better than we expected. The figures are sculpted wonderfully.
Despite the love of Power Lords by Four Horsemen, the production of the line was fraught with delays. By 2014, Wave 1 figures were in hand, but the fate of the line was already in question. 3 years later, in 2017, Four Horsemen announced that they had been granted an extension for the license and showed off prototypes for Wave 2 featuring characters like a newly armored up Power Suit Atom Power and original characters Psydot, Disguisor, and Raygoth. Each new figure would also be repurposed as new characters with a new head here and there, a color change, but there was a catch. In order to proceed with this new wave of figures, Four Horsemen would need to have fans place a minimum quantity of orders up front before they could begin production. Unfortunately, the support wasn't quite at the level it needed to be to make the next wave of figures a reality. The license expired, and any other associated products like graphic novels or games, any additional efforts to bring the Power Lords back would have to wait until some other day, maybe in the future. Or not. The Power Lords live on in the hearts and minds of fans, more so in France than anywhere else thanks to their proximity to Général des Jouets, the company that purchased Revell and got them into action figures in the first place. More Wave 2 figures were released there than in the US, so it's far easier and more affordable to collect the vintage pieces. Regardless of geography, the figures, especially in package, command a healthy secondary market price due to their fragile nature and rarity. They may have clogged clearance bins in 1985, but few survived the bedroom purges of the 90s as kids grew up and embraced skateboarding and the Sega Genesis. Wayne Barlow helped Power Lords stand apart from other toy lines of the early 80s, unique and mind-expanding, introducing a vision of aliens unlike anything else on the market. A bold and compelling attempt by a company forging into the action figure industry for the first time at the best possible time. Without a cartoon, barely a comic book, on the strength of their designs alone, they were called on again to continue the fight against the forces of evil nearly 40 years later. The Power Lords continue to fight, waging war out amongst the stars, never turning their backs on the peace-loving creatures who need them the most. You. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you haven't heard, we started a second channel called Toy Galaxy 2, that's TOO. Head over there and subscribe for stuff we don't post here. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. I've almost got this memorized. Or become a YouTube channel member. Please share this video and let us know in the comments down below if you're more of an Atom Power or more of a Power Lord. Do you approach life with your front face, or do you turn around and let your back face do the dirty work? Do you like to grip tog, graptic, or grab targ?
All right.